Today I'm going to be talking about everything that I've ever thrift flipped, upcycled, or altered. All of these alterations were done through the magic of sewing, and I'm going to be rating them from 1 to 10. So let's get started. This top may look cute now, but it was such a struggle for me to get to this point. It used to be a romper with a ruched back. I tried to make it a wrap skirt, but when I realized there wasn't enough fabric, I made it a top. Only after switching my mind 4 times and ripping the seams an unnecessary amount of times, I made this top with ruffled sleeves and an elastic waist. The back is still a little too long, so I have to fix that. I give this an 8, all things considered. I had this top that had an outdated neckline and cut, but the material was really pretty. I was either going to make this a wall hanging or a tote bag, but I stuck with the latter because the colors didn't match my room. I think one day I'll make a video on exactly how I made this, but for now, I'll just say that this is a 10. This skirt used to be a long skirt, and the slit was really high up, so what I did was I cut off the bottom and hemmed it, then I put a stitch right here. So this was the first time I worked with a really stretchy material, and for effort again, I'll have to give myself a point up. I'll give this a 5 for the actual thrift flip, but it looks super cute. So it would actually be higher just based on looks. These pants were also ordered online, which is clearly not a good idea for me. I took in the waist with darts and brought in the fabric on the sides more times than I'd like to admit. The pockets of these jeans made the material really hard to work with, and there may or may not have been some pocket casualties in the process. I also sewed in cuffs on the bottom to shorten the hem and add some flare. The idea was an 8, but the execution was maybe a 5.2 on a good day. So I got this denim jacket secondhand, and I wanted to make it more personalized, so I decided to add some embroidery patches to it. This one is a macrame plant hanger, this one is a tea bag with the string that leads to the back, and this one's a bundle of yarn or a bundle of string. I am totally a beginner with embroidery, so anyone can do something like this to personalize or customize anything that they have. This purple material was originally a wrap style romper. I cut out a pattern and sewed it all together to make this Princess Polly inspired top. This is probably my favorite thrift flip ever. I was so proud of myself for making this from scratch and having it look pretty professional. Definitely, certainly, surely a 10. I'll link the video on how I made this below and above. These jeans had 2 giant holes in the knees that my foot would definitely get caught in every time I put them on. To prevent falling over while getting dressed, I used cut up denim scraps from another dysfunctionally distressed pair of jeans to patch up the holes and make the jeans more appropriate for cold weather and bending your knees in general. These are a 10 for sure. This was a little bit big for me when I first got it. This top has a ruched back, so I was able to take in the fabric while still making it easy enough to put on. So I put in 2 darts in the back, but it actually became too tight, so then I had to go back and make the darts smaller. I also had to make the straps shorter by folding them in and then sewing them in the original placement. So now I have a little bit of a looser fit and I like this better. So because I had to do this twice, I would only give this like 6.2 maybe, but I think the top overall is a lot better now. I bought these jeans online from a brand I had never tried before, so I took a gamble with how they would fit. I added 2 darts in the back and folded in the fabric on the sides to make them fit better. When I alter my clothes with darts, I almost never cut the fabric in case I change my mind and want to make the clothes bigger. I give this a 10 because these are one of my favorite pair of jeans now, but ironing them properly might make them an 11. This top used to be a wrap top, and I cut it open and I made it slit down the middle. Then I used an extra piece of fabric and put that here so the meetup looks a little more intentional. This one for creativity, I gotta give it like a 6.5. It's really simple, but the execution I think was done pretty well. I changed this former wrap dress into having a different neckline that is close to a button-down style now, minus the buttons. I had to cut open a bunch of seams and sew them back together, then added darts in the shoulder to lift the entire neckline up. I altered this top by cutting off the straps and then placing them in a position to make them shorter than they were. And this top was kind of funny because I thought I was going to put 2 darts in the back to make it more fitted, but I only put 1 dart, and because of that laziness, I gotta give this only like a 6. I love these shorts because of their festival inspired cut and distressing, so I was upset when the distressing ripped and they became unwearable. To save them, I took leftover denim from jeans that I cut the bottom off of and sewed that under the distressing. These are a 9. And like the other pair of denim, I can now bend my knees without being afraid of ripping the denim. Alright, so this is the next one. This skirt used to be a little bit too big, but I put in 1 dart on this side and 1 dart on this side, and now it fits better. Even though darts are simple, they can be so effective in making your clothes fit better. This is a 4. This skirt is pretty much the same thing, so again, a 4. I cut up the hem, again in an awkward length, but this is still repairable if I go back and fix it. Looking back, I probably should have kept the old hem and made it shorter so it looked more intentional and like less of this kind of awkward length. So for this shirt, it used to be a dress and I cut off the bottom and hemmed it, but this time I did it by hand. So that's a little more effort. So I'll give myself a 5 on this. So this top was really long and it had like a weird rounded hem. So I just straightened out the hem. Then I cropped off the bottom again, but this time I actually bothered to hem it properly. But again, I was a little bit too lazy and I used a brown thread instead of a black one. This one will be like a 3 because I wear this top a lot. And if you tuck it in, it looks pretty decent. So this is actually the very first piece of clothing that I ever altered. It doesn't fit me so well anymore, but I thought I would just try it on to show what it looked like. I made this from scratch because I actually had to cut out the shape of the skirt like this and add this lace that I picked out. I was working with fabric that I didn't really understand how to drape that well, and I'm still learning about draping fabrics and what different fabrics work for different types of projects. But this skirt, even though the fabric isn't the best, I'm still gonna give this a 7. So this one's ranked a 1 because I only had to do one thing to alter it. All I did was cut off the hem and I left a raw hem, which is actually fine for this material because it doesn't fray. Otherwise it would be a 0, but I'm gonna give this a 1. And it's officially the worst thing I've ever thrift flipped. This upcycle was inspired by the Urban Outfitters cardigans that you see every trendy person wearing. I had a closed sweater in the front which I cut down the middle. I then added buttons and corresponding buttonholes to make the final crop cardigan. I'll give this a 7.5. This denim skirt is one of those pieces that I had bought because a round hem was a trend at the time. I love using upcycles to fix or change clothes that I made a mistake of buying because I can expand the item's lifespan. I cut up denim scraps and lined them up where I wanted them to lay on the skirt. I sewed them in and that created a new straight hem with an eye-catching design. I also added an elastic waistband to make this fit better. This is a 7. This top was made from leftover fabric from the midi skirt thrift flip. I cut out 4 rectangles that I used for the straps and panels of the top. I put clasps on the side of the top so I could easily put it on rather than struggling through it every time. I made the top a little too small, so I have to take off points for that. I'll give it a 7. This next upcycle is not clothing related, but it still involves sewing. I got this giant towel for a really good price, so I cut it up into small and medium cotton squares for removing makeup and washing my face. This is really easy to do and I use these every day. It's a 10. So this top used to be a long tank top with a v-neck. I cut off the top and reshaped the hem to make it a straight hem, and then I cut off the bottom and added 2 slits on each side of the tank top to make it into a tie-up top. I wanted to make it a tie-up crop top to make it a festival-inspired shirt. This skirt came from what used to be a black dress. I cut off the top of this and then I reshaped the bottom a little bit based on a pattern I made. I used a skirt to make this pattern, which I really recommend someone else do if they're making a skirt from scratch or from some material they already have too. The one bad thing about this skirt is the zipper. I did not have a zipper foot. I didn't know where it was really. I had no experience putting in zippers either, so I hand sewed the zipper in after like failing to do it with the sewing machine, and I had a white zipper, not a black one. With this skirt it's okay because it does have white print, but it would look better if it was just black and blended in. The skirt is not my best work, but that doesn't stop me from wearing it because I still love it. These are another pair of jeans that I altered by putting in darts at the waist. This allowed me to size down in the waist but keep a looser fit for the legs. Based on the idea, looks, and execution, this is a 6. These pants were originally super loose around the legs, so I folded in the fabric on the sides along most of the pants' legs. On the bottom by the ankle, however, I left the fabric untouched so that my feet could easily pass through the opening. It's still pretty hard to put these pants on though. I rate this a 7.5. This gray sweater originally had a voluminous lapel area, but I wanted to get rid of the bulk to make it more casual. So far, all I've done is cut the excess fabric off the lapels. Next, I'm considering hemming the sweater, cropping it, and maintaining the old hem to save myself from any unnecessary and exhausting hemming. I might even add some buttons to make it like my other button-down cardigan. Right now, this is a 4, but it has potential to become a 9. Let's see what happens. That's everything that I've ever thrift flipped, altered, or upcycled, and I hope this inspires someone to do something with their own clothes. That's all for now. Bye!